Sean Payton of the New Orleans Saints, to date, is the only NFL head coach known to have tested positive for the coronavirus. Thankfully, Payton, who first started experiencing symptoms on March 15th, announced last Wednesday that he has been cleared. And I think I speak for everyone, football fans and beyond, who say it is delightful to see Sean Payton, who joins us now live, looking so well and hearing that he's feeling so well. So, Sean, first and foremost, thank you for doing this. And how are you feeling?
Good, Mike. I appreciate you having me on. I'm feeling well. Fortunately, I was one of the, I guess you'd say, majority that had it, and yet didn't have any of the respiratory maybe symptoms that we're seeing so often with this virus. For me, it was just the chills. I had one day of a fever. It was that first day that I went ahead and got tested. It took a while to get the results back. I think it was 4 days later. But I would say very shortly after that Thursday, when I got the results back, I was asymptomatic and began to feel just tired, but pretty much like I had recovered. And it's been 2 weeks now, so a little bit over 2 weeks. And still, like everyone else, still staying inside and distancing ourselves from our neighbor per se. It's quite a difficult period of time, and I say that obviously for so many different regions and so many different people in our country.
No question. And look, your health is a private matter, but you're such a famous person. This is a matter of such interest. So we really are grateful to you for being willing to share that much. Let's talk about some football here, because we're delighted to have a chance to do that. So looking at your team, Drew Brees signs a 2-year deal. Taysom Hill is coming back. Teddy Bridgewater is in Carolina. So a very busy offseason in the quarterback room. And we've been talking a lot about it here. What role do you envision Taysom Hill playing for your team this year?
Yeah, I think the role is pretty clear. And first and foremost, we still view him as a quarterback. And we spent a lot of time this offseason discussing, our vision for him this season at quarterback, but then also at the F position. And what I mean by that, Mike, it's that slash tight end receiver. He's a tremendous blocker. He's physical. I don't think people realize how fast he is. He's probably one of the 3 or 4 fastest guys on our team. So he'll play that F position. He'll certainly be involved in the kicking game. It's one of the things that he takes pride in and is very good at. And then the unique situation with our team and with our quarterback, Drew Brees, is he's announced he's coming back for his final season. I think Taysom sees himself as being a starting quarterback in this league, and we do too. Now, because of what we choose to do with him on game day, we have to carry a third quarterback, just based on the nature of the amount of plays he's playing. At any given time, if something were to happen to his throwing hand, then all of a sudden you're really down to your starting quarterback. So we'll have a third quarterback that'll be up each game.
The 2 words that get used a lot in the NBA and generally never get used in the NFL are load management, but we've raised them here a little. And the notion that Brees, who of course is at his advanced age, perhaps a week or 2 here or there, scheduled in advance, might be something that benefited him enormously. And you have the unique luxury of having a guy like Taysom Hill. So when I say the words load management in football, what is your reaction?
No, we practice load management. It's a term that we use, and I would say it applies a lot for us during training camp when we're, stacking practices, let's say 6-7 days in a row before a break. We discuss it during the week preparation for each game. So there's certainly veteran players that we feel like are players with injury history that we're going to be smart with. And then when you deal with Drew Brees, typically his Wednesday schedule now, which is the first day in our league to practice, it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. He's not going to throw, and he's going to be really judicious as to what he does on Wednesday, and then ramp things up that Thursday. So Taysom, a lot of our players, especially the more and more we've been able to research just the length of the season.
So you're talking about time during practice. I guess what we'd be talking about here is the notion of actually having a week off during the season. NBA players will take games off. This is clearly not something that happens in the NFL generally. Is that what do you think of that? Just the very notion of it as being something that could happen as we see these older quarterbacks like Brady and yours.
Listen, it's a great question because we're getting into these waters that no one's been before. When you're looking at what Tom's getting ready to do now, and he's moving to Tampa Bay, and where Drew's at. I mean, these guys are in their 40s, and so I think, look, last season Drew missed 5 weeks because of a thumb injury. That certainly wasn't planned, and we would have liked, and I'm sure he would have liked to have stayed healthy, but I do think the topic that you're discussing relative to players like Drew or players like a Tom Brady is something that I think has a lot of merit to talking about. And then there's a few others that occasionally you'll come across, a veteran player that you're just trying to take a game off of them, a week off of them. I understand completely the question, and I think that's something that we've not had as much experience with.
Yeah, okay, good. I mean, candidly, you seem more open to it than most of my analysts here yell at me every time I bring it up. So I think that went better than I was expecting it to. Because
I think that, Mike, listen, the end game is to win as many games as possible. And we feel like we're competitive, and we feel like we've got talented players, and we've seen experienced coaches do this, and we've seen the NBA find the experienced team. I think San Antonio was one of the first teams we started seeing that happen with when they had a certain road stretch. They were trying to figure out how to win most of the games as opposed to naively going into every one of them and then maybe down the road not being better for it.